Hey everyone, Luke here. Now before I get into the review, I've just got to make a very quick announcement. As you know, next week I'll be starting rehearsals on my play, which is Cash Rebellions in Bolton. So that'll mean I'll be doing that Monday to Friday for 2 weeks, and then obviously I've got the show. So again, I apologise, but there might not be a few videos coming out within those few weeks. I will try my best to get videos out, but I'm not guaranteeing everything. Now, when it comes to We Neverland, what's the difference? I'm thinking, because we've only got episodes 11, 12 and 13 left, I'm thinking of just waiting until those episodes come out and doing it as like one big finale to the whole anime, and probably be the same with Promised Neverland, because this chapter we start off with a little bit of a mini arc within the final arc, where we have Don and Gilda going off to find Songju and Musica, which is the title of the chapter. We'll get into that eventually, but yeah, like I said, that's gonna be the plan. Hopefully I will try and get videos out, but I'm not guaranteeing anything, guys. I know that might be a little bit disappointing, but I need to concentrate on this play. It's a big project for me, something that I've been really looking forward to, and as you could probably tell from my voice, I'm really excited to be getting involved with it. I'm just really pumped up for it. So again, guys, I'm gonna have to put videos on hold so I can focus on that. I hope you understand. It's something that I've really wanted to be doing for a long time, actually getting paid to do acting work. Who wouldn't want to do that? Get paid to do the work that you actually love. But anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to say. Let's just jump right into the review. Okay, so this will be chapter 138, titled The Search for Demons Part 1. And again, like I just said, this is moving into a little bit of a mini-arc, because obviously the Search for Demons goes back to what was happening with Dawn and Gilda, and how they're going to be searching for Songju and Musica with Hatsui and Icy, basically the demon child girl that was actually raised alongside demons, and yeah, that's pretty interesting, and I can't wait to see where we actually go with this. And it's really nice that we're actually getting some focus on Don and Gilda, which is something I really wanted to, because I felt like with Emma and Ray going off by themselves, I felt like, okay, this is probably what they're going to do. They're going to focus on Emma and Ray for a bit, then we're going to cut back to see what the other characters are doing, and this is pretty much the case here, because we don't get any follow-up from Emma and Ray in this chapter. It's just focused mainly on Norman, his gang, and Don and Gilda, and how they're going to actually go through their mission of actually trying to find Songju and Musica and actually protect them from what's going to happen with Norman. But anyway, the chapter starts off with a colour page which shows Don, Gilda, Hatsui, Hayase, and the wolves just all travelling, and the caption says, "Those tracks show the way towards hope." Now, I don't know whether this is actually implying that once Songju and Musica are actually found by Don and Gilda, they're actually going to say, no, we're here to actually protect you from Norman. We're not going to take you to Norman, because even if we take you to Norman, he's actually going to kill you. So I guess that's probably why it actually refers to. And I really like the cover page. It's like, just gives this like bright colours, and just this ray of hope in terms of being in a world of pure darkness half the time. So anyway, we open up properly with Vincent doing some sort of experiments in a laboratory with the caption, "One more move in the perfect strategy," as we see him dropping what looks like some sort of like blood in some sort of like into like a beacon of water or something. Because it's manga, it's not made entirely clear of whether this is actually supposed to be blood or just water, but from what I can establish, it looks sort of like more like water, and he's like just pouring blood into this water for some sort of experiment, as we see him talking to Cecilo and going and Cecilo's going, "Is it ready?" And Vincent confirms that it is. The boss is an astonishing genius. No, that vulgar word doesn't even come close. He's above that. So again, this obviously implies that again they see Norman as a god above all man, and I don't know whether this should be worrying or not, because it might make Norman sort of like it might make his ego get the better of him, as he as we've seen, particularly in one of the recent chapters at the end, where we saw him having one side of him as with his flesh and one side of him with his skeleton. Now he's going to become the god of he's going to become a good god as well as a devil. I feel like that's going to come into play with especially here when Vincent actually scoffs at the word of just genius and how Norman is above that. I feel like it's sort of like going to get to Norman's head. He's going to like sort of like develop a god complex and sort of like become something that Emma does not want him to become, and she doesn't want him to become that. She wants him to remain human and see that even you have mistakes, Norman, and you need to overcome them as much as we need to overcome our mistakes as well. Now, the next line is actually really interesting, because Vincent says, nothing that exists can compare to him in greatness, nobility, or perfection. Now, that's really interesting, because this actually will come into play possibly with Norman, and actually sort of like leading to him actually having a downfall and possibly dying, because if you remember back in Bleach when Mayuri was fighting Ciao and he was going on that speech about perfection and how he despised perfection because if something's truly perfect, that's it. And that's gonna be, and I feel like that's gonna be the case here, because there won't be any because now that they see Norman as just perfection, then there's no room for Norman to improve himself and become better and become more understanding of the world around him, and thinking about reaching a thing that eventually may become unreachable. Again, I'm talking about the perfection feature because this really applies to Norman, how he's built himself up to be this god and be this absolutely perfect thing that he can't leave any cracks in his system, because if there are any cracks in his system, then the whole operation comes down, and that's the fatal flaw of Norman of Norman's character at this moment in time, and how it's sort of like gone from someone who was like on the level of a genius, yet still had flaws, to actually becoming a god, but not actually being able to have any of those flaws, because again, if he has flaws, then his whole operation falls flat. And I wonder what would happen if Vincent, Cecil, Barbara and Cecily actually found out, like, oh my god, Norman has weaknesses, there's something he can't do, he's not our boss is not perfect at all, and how it's gonna affect them as characters as well, if they've just built him up to be like this perfect god, and how it may actually affect them in the future. Anyway, continuing on, they go on. Cecil goes on to say, "Hey, now it's all good, right? Nah, it's nothing. Forget it." As Vincent like is quizzingly asking him about it. Now I don't know why Cecil actually says it's like no wait. No, Cecil actually thinks back to a moment with Norman before actually deciding to bring up all of that before forgetting about it. Now I don't know whether this was actually the case of like of Cecilo, even and now from what I can gather here, Cecilo I feel doesn't see Norman as perfect as Vincent does. Maybe Cecilo has known Norman for a lot longer than Vincent, and actually sees that even he has flaws, even he's human, he is not perfect himself. But again, they've built him up so much now that they actually have to keep that facade up. And so when Cecilo actually tries to bring it up here and says, nah, it's nothing, forget it, maybe that's the case of like, maybe he was like, well, yeah, it's all good, right? But do you really think that that he's actually as perfect as you're making him out to be? Maybe that's what they're trying to get across here, and it might actually come into play later on in the series. As Cecil and Vincent continue a conversation with Cecil going, I wonder if the girl with cursed blood will be found. And Vincent goes, oh, she will be. The boss even managed to smoke out the exclusive Gillen. We see Vincent actually injecting what he was doing with his experiment. I feel, or I don't know what he's trying to do. He's like either injecting or getting out something from like this rat demon thing in a cage, or maybe it's just a regular rat. But anyway, Vincent, Cecil goes, can we kill her? And Vincent goes, she will die. Just trust the boss on this. Oh, no, wait. No, I see it. Like, he gets the syringe and sort of like sticks it in and then just sort of like pulls out some sort of like, skin, fluid, blood cells. So he pulls out something, or he injects the rat with something here, and no, it is a demon rat because it only has like one eye, like in the center where it's sort of like in the center, like its nose is down there, like sort of down there, and then the eye just sort of like covers its whole center face here as it starts squeaking and squeaking before just guying out in pain, just like just sort of like that. And Vincent goes on to say, experiment successful. His plan is proceeding without hitch, as we see Norman, Sassy, Barbara, and all like the Adam clone creature things that were in Lambda, all charging towards the capital. As Vincent goes, the royal capital, the cursed blood go. Everything is already taken care of, and we don't see what is in that cage now. Okay, from what I can establish here is that Vincent removed something but put something in this vat. I feel like that's what he actually did. That's what he actually did here. It's kind of confusing because we don't get like the full picture of what he actually was doing to this creature, but we see that just this black viscous substance in that cage where the rat used to be. So whatever he did, it's probably likely that they actually have some of Musica's blood with them, and they were injecting this creature with it, or they were removing the cell that, because if you remember, the demons, they were actually bacterial cells that actually developed over time. The more they kept eating a certain like life form or animal, and eventually developed into a taste where they actually were eating humans, and they were able to like mold themselves into a humanoid form. So like they evolved into humanoids by actually eating other humans, and that's the nature of them. That the demons always constantly keep evolving from their original state. So my theory is that whatever Vincent took out or injected, like he took out like the actual cellular bacterial makeup of this creature, so that it can like de-evolve back into like a bacterial state, and they can destroy it once for all. Because we don't actually see, we just see what this rat creature turned into. We just see like this black viscous substance, and that's it. We don't get any more clues about it. So all we can do is speculate on now whether whether Vincent actually found a way to artificially turn this creature back into a bacterial form, or he's actually developing it into a way so that it can actually work for them. Either way, we don't know about this, and it's all speculation at this point. Anyway, we call over to the group that are searching for Songju and Musica, as the wolves are constantly sniffing out everything, and Don and Gilda are looking very intense, and they think, we have Norman's nap. Ashe and the dogs are also helping to search, as Hattori discovers some footprints, and like hey, there it is, footprints, and they think back, thanks to them, thanks to them we found signs of demons in the secret route where no demons should be found before. And if these are Songju and Musica's, before Gilda goes on to say, but these are not right, as she concludes that they're far too big to be Musicas and far too small to be Songju's, and they seem to have no effect at all to disguise them. What's more, if you look closely, they're walking on all fours. This must be from a small wire demon. And again, it's amazing how despite these two not really having much contact with the demons in the past 2 years, it's amazing how they've kept their minds. They've kept. I make a mistake there. I'm sorry, guys. Despite Gilda not having much contact with the demons in the past 2 years, because I'm pretty sure that it was mostly Dawn that went on those missions during the 2 year time skip. But again, just by the observing, because I feel like they wouldn't be much paying attention to their feats. They would be more paying attention of like, okay, what do we have to find in order to find the seven walls, and to the fact that they still remembered all of this and still remembered actually that it's too big to be musicals and too small to be song Jews. It's amazing how they actually remembered that despite all the crazy shit that has been going on over the past 2 years and the past few weeks at this point. So continuing on, Hatsui says, here it is, we found a campsite, but as Don observes it, he says, these are human bones, so it can't be Song Ju's group. And there's a real subtle characterization in this moment in time, because you see Hatsui and Gilda getting like shivering at the fact that there are human bones, but we have Don just being he's being a little phased by them, but not as much as Gilda and Hatsui are, and this again adds more to his development as his character has become a lot more braver based on the fact that he's been out on those missions for the past 2 years, and he's probably seen a lot worse. He's probably been into those towns and seen like human remains in those containers that the demons actually say, hey, can I buy this like human arm to eat? He's probably seen far much worse than human bones that are just on a campsite, and again showing the evolution of his character from becoming a lot more feeling like aren't we valued? Aren't we supposed to be siblings? Aren't we supposed to be family? Aren't we supposed to be protected? To someone who's actually grown and developed and become a lot more brave, even though it still kind of affects him because his eyes are just like the whiteness of his eyes, like there's no pupils. You can see how much braver just in this one panel he is compared to Hattori and Gilda, and of course Ashe is totally unaffected by this because she's been through so much shit that she probably doesn't even care about humanity anymore in the same way that they do, because of all the shit she's gone through, and she's probably not had anyone like a human to actually look after her and care for her in the same way that they have. So she's probably she's over there just like human balls, whatever. But anyway, continuing on, Hatsui goes on to say, you two are awesome, you really know it all, it's so cool. And I agree with that. The fact that they're actually getting praised from one of Norman's like posse actually shows just how much of a value these two actually are. And again, they really are valued. Like they were a big major help in the first 2 arcs, because without them, I doubt they would have been able to do half the crap that they did and escape in time. I feel like it would have just fallen all apart if it was just left up to Emma and Ray, and I doubt a lot of them would have actually gotten out as successfully as they did. I want actually that would have actually been an interesting concept. Like, what would have happened if Don and Gilda never found out about this? Like, never found out about this, and the series played out about that. That would have actually been interesting. Like, would Emma, Ray, and Ray being able to escape with everyone as well as they could have done, like if Don and Gilda weren't actually in on this. So again, to actually commend them and actually give them praise for all of this really shows just how much they are valued in this operation. And again, Norman Fowles, even though he's using them, he still sees them as a valuable resource. But even he probably has to think like they're probably gonna turn against me. So I best be careful with them. Or he probably just doesn't know about it. I don't know whether in the last few chapters where he was actually instructing Don and Gilda to actually go off and find Sanju and Musica, maybe he had some doubts with them, but they certainly have doubts with Norman. And even if Norman knows or he doesn't know, it's still going to be a pretty big shock for him, the fact that they're actually not seeing it in the way he is. But it probably wouldn't be surprising for him as well, because they've been on the other side for 2 years rather than on his side, so they probably have more they most certainly have more compassion. Not probably, they most certainly have more compassion, and they trust Emma more so than they trust Norman at this point, because of all the crap they've been through and how much of a success she's been as a leader for them. anyway, Don and Gilda are like, nah, Ashe and the dogs are doing all the work. They don't miss a clue, no matter how small and subtle. Things that we certainly miss and that we take forever to find out. They get at once, as we see. Ashe actually just ripping the flesh from a boat, from like a meat bone that she actually had. Again, showing that she is more animal than human. But again, this is actually really valuable because again, like this side, it allows them to pick up on the subtle things that they probably miss. But again, not to they shouldn't really like cut themselves short, because again, they're doing a lot of the work and they're showing just how much skill they've actually improved on from their time being at Gracefield House to the time at the shelter to being with Hugo and Lucas before I think went to Shen. They had to move to Norman's base of operations. So again, even though Ashe is doing quite a lot of the work, they shouldn't still cut them out here, because they're still playing a very pivotal role in this operation, both for Norman but also for their own sense of sanity that could break at any moment if something bad was to actually happen. Gilda goes on to praise Ashe more by saying she's even an expert marksman, right? As Hetty goes, yes, she's the best shot of the entire group. After the boss saved her, she started to learn and improve super fast. By now, she could shoot a target that's this very small, very far, with 100% accuracy. So about that small. Before they actually reminds them of another Hugo, and I love how they brought that up, because again, if you actually think back to when Hugo was when Hugo's story was going on, he was able just to shoot with accuracy. Noma like completely down before shooting from afar from a rooftop Lewis's mask and just actually breaking that off. So again, I love how they actually brought that out, because I was thinking that when I first read this chapter, like, this is another Hugo, like she like perfect marksman, able to shoot something completely accuracy, and I feel like that's going to come into play later on in the series, where if she actually does decide to combat the demons, how effective her marksman is going to be for actually taking out their eyes and actually killing them. And I love here how Hugo is like, how they have a Hugo how Hugo like a vision of Hugo actually breaks the fourth wall. It's like someone calling me. I love that, but also I love callbacks to like characters that are actually deceased now. They're actually being actually remembered and not actually forgotten, because a lot of series actually do that. Promise Neverland does it as well, but every series does it. How they'll have characters that actually play a pivotal role, and then once their story arc is concluded, that's it. We don't see them again until like the very end of the series. And I understand like the series has to keep moving on, but if something actually reminds you of a character, it's actually relevant to actually think about, like, oh yeah, this reminds me of this character. And it's always nice to see old fan favorite characters, because I'm pretty sure Hugo is a fan favorite character. He ranked in the top 20 in the last Promised Neverland popularity poll. So yeah, he's a pretty popular character, and it's nice to actually give him give like a nice nod to his character as well. But anyway, continuing on, they go on to say her 5 senses are unbelievably sharp: sight, hearing, smell. And this is actually proven when she actually smells a bug and actually just crushes it. That's actually crawling up behind Don, and he's like, he's like that as she just like picks up a bag, just goes, it's like, and then Gilda goes, it's venomous, and Hattie's like, see? But again, this is gonna be like a big shock for Hattie in a few moments' time, when something almost deadly happens to him. So as Don thanks Ashe for actually saving him from that venomous bug, they go on to say, the ideal trafficking escort, isn't she? Perfect for search, perfect for security, perfect for assassination, and also for keeping watch on us. But now again, okay, so this was probably Norman's idea of like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna send them to help you. I'm going to send her to help you with her wolves, but at the same time, going to be keeping tabs on you two, and making sure that you follow my plan through to the very letter. As we see one of the wolves actually just like staring at that, almost like Norman is actually watching go for them, like, you better not do something against me, otherwise, basically. So I feel like even though Norman wants them to go out and find Sonju and Musica, he's going to be like, okay, we're going to do it, but we're going to do this my way. So yeah, it's probably the fact that Norman, even though he trusts them, he doesn't trust them completely, and that's a running theme throughout the Promised Neverland. If you've noticed this, like how, like, who can you actually trust in this world? Even your closest friends, can you actually trust them? And can you are these trust issues actually going to break you apart? Like, that's the most important lesson from the Promised Neverland. It's like, who do you trust, and who can you actually welcome into your group without the worry and prospect of you actually getting killed? Like, this series just has so many trust issues that it's amazing for it as well, to keep a consistent tone throughout the series of that. From pretty much the start of the series, where they find out the twist, and it's like, okay, who can we trust now? We can't trust anyone, and even your closest friends. Like, right now, Emma, even though Norman is one of her close friends, like, closer than friends, like, pretty much, practically, that actually her brother, like, it's her brother, like, her family, like, even in families that she's actually built up and made out to be, like, just these amazing people, their actions have, like, caused her to be like, wait a second, can I actually trust them? Are they actually going to do the thing that I want them to do and actually listen to me? And of course, Norman is no exception. It's like, even though he sees Dawn and Gilda has his family because they grew up together, he still has some trust issues with them, because he knows that they're actually on Emma's side, and Emma doesn't want to actually kill the demons. So he's like, okay, I'm going to make it out that I am going to be helping you guys out, but at the same time, you're not gonna make me seem like a fool and seem like a weakling in this sense. So I'm gonna have someone escort you, primarily to look after you so that you complete your mission, but also to make sure that you guys are kept under taps, to make sure that you followed my mission through to the letter without actually having any detours. And they go on to think, no openings whatsoever. The dogs and this woman won't miss an eye blink, and this actually gets this actually gets Gilda actually looking very somber and saying, I wonder if we can even help them, Sonju and Musica. And again, I love that, the fact that it's sort of like being back in Gracefield House and actually thinking like, okay, we're trapped right now. We've got someone who's looking after us, but at the same time is keeping tabs on us to make sure we don't do anything out of line, and we follow them and we follow their structure, their status quo right through to the letter. And I love that about them. Gilda is actually having the similar questions to when they first found out about the house, about Gracefield House, and how they found it like it was an absolutely impossible thing to escape from. And they're like, can we actually escape from this? In the same way that Gilda is actually thinking now, can we actually even save Sonju and Musica? We've got people looking, watching us and making sure that we follow our mission to the letter, but also not allowing us to go off on our own agendas. And they obviously know that Norman wants them to dead at this point, or at least captured, drained of her powers and dead, actually killing her. But Dawn actually gives her like a little bit more confidence, and goes, to hell with that. The right question is, how do we save them? And again, this is perfect. It's perfect, like callback to Gracefield House. It's like when Emma is like, I want to save everyone, and Ray's like, no, you can't save everyone. It's impossible. But Norman's like, oh, we are going to save everyone, or we are going to escape together. To hell with these quotes. The question is, how do we escape? And it's the same thing here with Dawn, and I really like that about it. Like they're actually making a callback to the situation that they had at Gracefield House, but in a different way that's actually believable, and actually thinking like Gilda would actually be thinking about these questions. And again, shows how much that Gilda has evolved as a character based on being around Emma and Ray and Hugo and Lucas and everyone around her, about how she's actually coming into her own and being in her own mind game as well. And again, it's perfect callback to when she actually stood up to an opposing force in the sense with Sister Crone, when she actually actually confronted her in her room way back at the beginning of the, not at the beginning of the series, but very close to the beginning of the series. And Gilda actually snaps out of her doubts and she's like, "You're right, sorry." And continuing on, they go on to say, "Well, Sungju is always close to Musica. As long as he is around, I very much doubt that they can be killed that easily. Although we really need to communicate with her somehow." And I love how that, and I love the next bits that are coming up where they actually try to communicate with Ashe and actually get her to actually speak human, or at least try to speak human. I put it in quotations because at the end of this chapter, you'll see why. Don goes on to say, or at least think, Ashe can't understand human language, as we see her talking in sort of like the demon language to these dogs. Before he continues on going, and she's only interested in talking to the dogs. But this challenge only gets me more fired up. I'll work hard to make us understand one another. And he's like, here goes nothing. As he's like breaking his knuckles. It's like, do you want to punch her? Do you want to punch her, John, or are you just like trying to rub your hands? Is he? No, he's actually doing it like that, whereas really he should be doing it like that more so. And it's like, Dawn, doing that is not going to make people want to talk to you. It's just going to make people want to run away. Before he goes on to say, Operation Friendship, as he tries to hold out his hands, but the dogs obviously chase him away. And he's like, total failure! And it's like, oh my god, Dawn, you're a lot more smarter than this. You should know that. Don't approach wild animals, even if they think they're friendly. Don't approach them if you want something bad to happen to you. But anyway, continuing on, they continue their search as they climb through a rocky cliff as Ashe gets a little bit more suspect as she turns to, as she is like giving that look, as giving that look indicating that she has something on her mind, but she can't actually reveal it to them at this point. As she continues to talk in the demon language, Dawn is like, tomorrow for sure, yeah. And then we cut to the next day as they're continuing searching for Sungju and Musica, and they find more tracks. And Gilda's like, more tracks, all of them from wild demons, aren't they? It's getting dangerous. I think the nest must be close here. Before Dawn goes on to say, if we keep going in this direction, we'll get close to a town. Let's go back this way. As they think like towns are dangerous too. And again, this is obvious because from the fact that they are human, and if they walk into a demon town, then the demons are just going to capture them and kill them themselves right there and then. As the wolves or dogs, they're more like half wolf, half dog. Yeah, as they and Ashe get riled up and get like poised to like attack, like they're in attack position. Because again, from what I can understand, dogs have much more sense of like, okay, something is coming. We need. They have much more heightened senses than humans, and they can actually think like, oh, something's coming, something's there. And Dawn's like, what's up? As Hattori is just relaxed, like, there's no problem at all, isn't it? As we see a demon who was like mimicking a tree bark, and this is actually the first time we've actually seen something like this, so maybe this will be something that's established later on in the series, but for now I can't make heads or tails of this, like how this demon was actually able to mimic this tree bark. Maybe just by eating the tree. Maybe it ate the tree. That's probably what happened. It ate the tree and it sort of like took on that mimicking form, because again, always constantly evolving and always changing based on what you're actually eating. So maybe that's probably the reason why it's like this. Anyway, as the demon is swooping in to try and get Hattori, he goes on to say, we have to avoid the demons, but we're also searching for them. That's pretty hard. It's right behind you, Hattori! As they all actually knows what's actually going on, and we see Gilda going, a demon, he was mimicking a tree bark, and she actually doesn't have an answer to this. She's just like, ... question mark, what's going on here? As she calls out, Hattori, and he's like, And as he looks behind, and Ashe is getting ready to actually fire, and Hattori's screaming. But before Ashe can actually take a shot, Dawn throws a rock and hits it point blank right in the demon's socket. Now, right in the demon's socket. It's like, right there, right in the demon's socket. And this actually shocks Ashe. She's like, this guy actually got in like that as quickly as me, like even more quicker than me. And again, I love that that Dom just like was like, just quick wit, like, okay, demon in trouble, like, hope it works. Like, just distract this demon as quickly in order to get your friend out of danger. I love that. Just about, just for the fact that Don just quickly saw the situation and just leapt into action. No questions about it. Again, showing just how much braver and stronger he's actually become as a human being. As they get away from the demon, Hattori's grabbing onto Don. He's like, thank you so much. And Don's like, I'm just glad you're not hurt, okay? Can you get off me, please? Before Hattori goes on to say, but why did you put yourself in danger like that? You could have died. It would have been much simpler and faster to kill it, as Don justifies his actions, as going on to say, well, it was just one demon and it's easy to escape into this terrain. The guns are too loud and our ammo is too limited, and also our safety long term depends on not leaving tracks, especially signs of human activity. And again, I love that how Don is actually feeling like, okay, we've got limited resources here, so we have to make best out of a worse situation here. We can't afford to leave any of our presence here known to anybody at all, in case somebody comes after us and tries to kill us before our mission is actually completed. And Hattori goes on to say, then just kill them with a bow. And Don's like, yeah, but I think it's best to avoid killing when we can. And I love that about Don as well. It's like even though he knows the necessity of survival, he's still human, and it's like, this creature is still its own creature, and I don't want to kill this creature and have that conscience of actually killing on my hands here. So again, showing how much Emma is actually reflecting on him, and whether this is actually gonna, whether actually Norman is actually gonna turn him to his side, and Gilda is a question that remains to be seen, to be answered. But I think what's actually gonna, but I think they're firmly in Emma's side, and they're going to try and undermine Hattori and Ashe, so that they too actually come to Emma's side and actually understand the importance of actually not killing these creatures, but also survival as well. But anyway, continuing on, they stop for the night at a campsite sort of like far away, so that they can actually stop and have a rest. As Hattori goes off to find some firewood, Gilda actually warns him to be careful, especially with what's just happened, that he was almost killed by this demon. Before Gilda goes on to say to Don, did you notice, earlier today, did you notice it? Those tracks, it looks like that one very much so. That horse who was with Songju and Musica, which is something that Don said. So again, this is I love how they're actually thinking back to, like, okay, what's the most likely thing that would have made that track? Oh, the horse that Songju was with. Before Don goes on to say, no wait, it's so soon and we already have a lead. Before Gilda's like, it's not certain yet, it could be another horse. Before Don goes on to say, but what do we do if it really is them? As Gilda thinks, we'll soon find them, we won't let them be killed, and for that, what we must do is, before actually being cut off, and her saying, right Don, we, as Ashe actually gets up and actually speaks the first words that she's actually spoken in the series, saying, I see, you two are planning to let her escape. So again, she actually figured out what was actually going on here, and actually deduced, like, okay, they're actually trying to get them out of here. They're not actually trying to bring them back. They're actually trying to get out of here. And again, I love that about this character, how it's just like she observed the situation and thought, like, okay, yeah, it's kind of obvious what these guys are actually doing. And the caption actually says, words break the silence and all certainty, and that's where the chapter ends with Ashe actually figuring out what the plan is, and them actually looking shocked, like, oh my god, she can actually talk! And that's actually a surprise, that she can actually understand human language now. We don't know exactly how long she's actually been with Norman and the others, but say she's been there for, let's say, a year and a half. She's probably picked up on the language herself at this point through intense teaching and methods, and maybe she's come to her own conclusions, or maybe she sees it in the same way that Emma does. We don't actually know. We don't actually know what her agenda lies or where her motives lie at this moment in time. Yes, Norman saved her, but at the same time, she probably sees it in the same way that Emma does. Like, what he's doing is just as bad as what the demons are doing, and what the Atari clan is doing, like actually killing off these creatures just because they're different. So again, it's kind of the moral grey area at this point. We don't actually know where motives lie, and we're not going to find out probably in the next chapter. We probably won't find out in the next chapter. We'll probably find out in the chapter after that. But anyway, guys, that was it. What did you guys think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Personally, for me, I really enjoyed this chapter just for the fact that we got to see more of Dawn and Gilda, and we got to learn more about this character and how she's very similar to Yugo in a lot of ways, but how she can possibly be different from Yugo in the sense that she's not as violent, and she might not be as violent and aggressive as Yugo, or she may be more violent and aggressive than Yugo. She might actually become an antagonist, or maybe a subtle antagonist. We don't know. But personally, I'm really looking forward to finding out more about this character and where her motivations lie. Anyway, guys, that is it. I've got to go off now and edit this, and then get back to rehearsing my lines for Monday when we start the overall rehearsals. And like I said, I'll try and get some videos out within the next few weeks, but I'm not guaranteeing it as a possibility. And this will be Ashe and Luke signing off. Later, guys.